if you are an Impact Wrestling fan, if you like Impact Wrestling reviews every single week, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification button to be notified of every video that I make. So, Impact has been on quite the roll in the month of January. We'll see if it translated to the month of February as we start here. They started off, man. I gotta head to Impact. Seems like every show they start off with a banger. They go to the X Division for the bangers. And this week was probably the X Division and the tag team match. I talked about that at one point in one of my YouTube videos. The tag team division consists of mostly the X Division. So we had the Lucha Brothers in Taurus versus LAX and Daga. And perfect choice to kick off the show. I was high paced. I mean, what else do you expect? LAX and the Lucha Brothers. I enjoyed this match. Taurus and Daga looked really good this match. They got a lot of pretty good spots in this match, so they looked really good. I love the face-off between Santana and Pentagon. They got the crowd really going. Got some Cerro Metal chants in that as well. There was a moment in this match where we had multiple topes over the ropes, which extenuated with Phoenix just jumping off the top rope and doing things that Phoenix does. There are moves that Phoenix does that you don't even have a name for. It ended up being a moonsault, but he just made it look so great. He's in that class, like I always say, Phoenix, Desmond Xavier, and Ricochet. Just incredible, unexplainable athleticism that just drops your jaw every time you see these guys in matches. So this fantastic match would end as Phoenix and Pentagon would pick up the Fear Factor tag team maneuver for the win. They would get the win. They get the pinfall victory over the tag team champs. And you know what that means? You're next in line for a title shot. So after the match, Pentagon grabs the mic. He talks to Conan, he talks to LAX, and he basically says they want a rematch. And he asks LAX were they in for it, and they shook on it. They said yes, and it looks like we will be getting it next week. Now, I find the timing pretty awkward. We got Uncaged in 2 weeks, but we are having the match next week. Like, I think that something like this is definitely not going to be a clean finish at the end of the day. And I think this is going to lead into a match at Uncaged. We'll see how it all turns out. So next up, Killer Kross was backstage, and he hyped up the match with Brian Cage and Johnny Impact later in the night. Killer Kross and Moose versus Johnny Cage and Johnny Impact, and Brian Cage. Talking about how he was ticked off because he had Johnny Impact beat, but Brian Cage got interfered in the proceedings. So after that, we had a video with Conan and LAX. Talked about their match next week with the Lucha Brothers. And Conan told him to keep things professional. Like, I don't want to see them keep things professional. I want to see them go at it. I want to see blood and guts, man. I don't want this to be professional. I want somebody to slap somebody and just get it on. That's what I want. Don't keep it professional. We had a flashback, and this was something I forgot to mention last week. They didn't do the GWN replay or flashbacks last week, and the show just flowed tremendously. And I just wanted to give them a hand clap on that. And then this week, we get a flashback, and we get the GWN replay. Like, you did it so greatly last week. Like, that, just go with what you were doing. And, man. Like, I enjoyed the fact that they kept the GWN replay to, I think it was Sooyoung and Rosemary. So it was recent wrestlers that are on the show. So I at least appreciate that. So after that, they announced that they will be having a pay-per-view Rebellion April 28th. And Like, I think we should have gotten through Uncaged first before we announced the Rebellion pay-per-view. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to Rebellion, and I'm pretty sure it will be really good. After that, we had Sooyoung and Dark Alley versus Jordan Grace and Kyra Hogan. And I gotta say that Sooyoung and Dark Alley, this storyline, they had so much more momentum when they initially formed this alliance. Like, they are taking a long time to tell the story, and Sooyoung and Dark Alley, they're interesting, but they're just not as interesting as once before. So they really need a shot in the arm with this storyline going forward. And I'll get to that in a minute. But this was a decent enough match. Kyra Hogan, future world champion. I said this last night. Whether it's on Wild Superheroes or in Impact Wrestling, she is a future world champion. She just has it all. And in this match, like, when she gets going, she's very impressive. Like, she didn't necessarily get a hot tag, but she got a tag, and she went in, man. Like, she has a Seth Rollins effect. Like, when Seth Rollins gets a hot tag and runs wild, it is just entertaining television. And Kyra Hogan has that effect as well. So, this was a decent match. I enjoyed it for what it was. And like I said, I'm ready for this storyline to get moving forward with Sooyoung and Sooyoung and Dark Alley. So it did get moving forward. We had Rosemary come out, lights go out, Rosemary appears. And eventually that leads to Kyra Hogan picking up the win on Dark Alley as Rosemary disappeared. I think that they're telling the story, but they're just taking a wee bit too long to get to the story. And it's hurting Dark Alley and Sooyoung in the process, in my opinion, because they are losing momentum as the storyline unfolds. Kyra Hogan and Jordan Grace, I'm not sure where they stand in this. Maybe this leads to some type of matchup with all three parties are involved. We'll see on that one. But Kyra Hogan and Jordan Grace picks up the win. So after that, we had a Scarlet Bordeaux vignette where she is just tossing this poor guy around, and Scarlet Bordeaux was pretty funny. So it's pretty entertaining to see her funny side come out, and I cannot wait to see Scarlet Bordeaux in a ring. Like I said, I think it was last week, they say she can legitimately go in the ring. Like, it ain't all looks with Scarlet Bordeaux. She can go in the ring, so I'm very interested to see how they implement her. I'm very interested to see the type of matches she is in or the matchups that she has going forward. I'm very interested to see it. After that, we had Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards versus the Rascals. And man, at this point, the Rascals should just be in a match. There's Zachary Winch, Trey Miguel. Either one of them should just be in a match every week on Impact because they are just money, man. And I gotta tell you that one thing that goes undersold about this match, Eli Drake, man, the dude can get this about whether it's Eli Drake or Elias, their character overshadows the fact that they can actually wrestle in the ring. Eli Drake can actually wrestle in the ring. Had a nice springboard press slam on Zachary Wentz. And, like, the dude can really go in the ring. I enjoyed this match, to be honest. We had some great double teams from the Rascals. Those dudes are money. Like I said, Desmond Xavier, with that athleticism, just wow athleticism, just leaves your jaw dropped, excuse me. So this match picked up really well. Eddie Edwards had a suicide dive through the ropes, but it would end as Eddie Edwards would try to go for the kendo stick. Eli Drake snatched it out of his hands, used it, and hit the gravy train for the win. he would eventually tell Eddie Edwards that, you know what, you don't need that kendo stick after all, even though he's used it. So that was a very entertaining match, and I enjoyed it very much. After this, we had Tessa Blanchard up. She talked about how she was ready for a title match after she came off of this suspension. She wanted it next week. So I cannot wait for that. After that, we got Rich Swann. We had a lot of talking going after this. So we had Rich Swann, and I really enjoyed this segment. Like, I was waiting for the explanation of this relationship with Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. So we got that, and I enjoyed. Rich Swann talked about how Sami Callihan took him in. He treated him like a brother. He took him into his home. That may have wrecked Sami Callihan's marriage, but he took him in, and he talked about how he had a place in his heart for Sami Callihan. But he talked about how he saw that Sami Callihan used the best in people for his own good, and Rich Swann would not be one of those people. So I enjoyed this Impact Wrestling production team. I always talk about them. Phenomenal job. They did a great job here, and I'm very much more interested in this Sami Callihan, Rich Swann story than I previously was. Like, from a match standpoint, I was interested. Sami Callihan and Rich Swann, I know they're going to tear down our house. So I was very interested in that, in the feud from that standpoint. But the story has drawn me in. They have legitimately done a good job telling this story. And we have a great story. We're going to have a great match afterwards. So I'm very much looking forward to it. After that, we had Father Bob versus Psycho Clown. I got to tell you, this match didn't do a whole lot for me. I wasn't very interested into going into it, so maybe that had a part to do with it. But Psycho Clown is he's very athletic. Had a nice tope over the ropes. And Father Bob is nimble, to say how big he is. He's nimble for his size. I didn't really feel this match. It was surprising, though, that Psycho Clown picked up the victory. But they are hyping this World Cup up, and the other companies outside of Impact has to start winning in these crossover matches. So Psycho Clown picks up the win. I thought he should have picked up the win with that sunset flip powerbomb, but he didn't. But he eventually picked up the win. Psycho Clown gets the win there. So after that, had Johnny Cage and Johnny Impact. They have to stop tag teaming together. I'm going to keep saying that. Like it's Mortal Kombat or something. Johnny Impact and Brian Cage backstage arguing, and those two are going at it. They're going to keep going at it until they face off in the title match at Uncaged, and then they're going to tear each other apart. So could they coexist in the tag match? We're going to get into that. After that, we had AAA get themselves ready for the World Cup. They were hyping themselves up for the World Cup, and that's going to be really good. I cannot wait to see that. So last up, we had the main event, Killer Cross and Moose versus Johnny Impact and Brian Cage. So I thought this match was really good. It was moving along slowly at the beginning of the match, but it legitimately really picked up when Brian Cage got the hot tag. And before I get into that, Killer Cross, I thought it was pretty funny. He did a 3 Amigos suplex. It kind of came out of nowhere, but I guess since they were in Mexico, he went for it. But the match, as I was saying, the match really picked up when Brian Cage got the hot tag. This dude here, man. The strength of a heavyweight, of a super heavyweight, the agility of a cruiserweight. He comes in and he runs wild, clotheslines to Moose, and a jumping high knee to Killer Cross. And like the guy can really go, and his athleticism is off the charts. Not quite at the Phoenix, Desmond Xavier, Ricochet athleticism, but his athleticism is up there with them to say how big that guy is. Man. So the match eventually broke down as Johnny Impact went for the disaster kick and nailed Brian Cage. You know, Brian Cage didn't have none of that. He went for clothesline, missed, but eventually these guys couldn't coexist, and that led to a moose spear for the victory. I gotta say, Johnny Impact is taking a wee bit too many pinfall victories as the world champion for my taste. Now, does this lead to a four-way match at the next pay-per-view? Eventually, after this singles match with Brian Cage and Johnny Impact, will we get Johnny Impact, Brian Cage, Killer Cross, and Moose for the title? Moose has picked up a pinfall victory over the champ. Killer Cross has picked up a pinfall victory over the champ. So where I'm from, when you pick up a non-title victory over the champ, that means you're next in line. So a four-way match makes sense. I don't necessarily want to see a four-way match. I like it when it's one-on-one, but I won't be mad because they've told the storyline that a four-way match is on the way. So we'll see how that turns out going forward. So that would be the end of Impact Wrestling and this week's episode of Impact Wrestling, excuse me. So let me know your thoughts in the YouTube comments or on Twitter at OMGCoreyB or at 2SweetPod. That's the number 2SweetPod. Let me know your thoughts on Impact Wrestling. I will respond to everything on Twitter. I follow back on Twitter as well. And also, feel free to subscribe on YouTube and hit that notification bell.